Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And this is the final in our series on what it takes to succeed in understanding the master variable of state of mind. And so to review, there are basically three things to understand about state of mind that are going to have a positive impact on pretty much every productivity issue you might be facing. And the first is that in a low quality state of mind, your IQ, your EQ, and pretty much any other quotient you can imagine drops through the floor, which means that if you try to push forward from that place, or while those around you are in low quality states of mind, mistakes are going to start piling up and your relationships are going to founder. Now, in a high quality state of mind, a state of relative calm, of clarity, of well-being, of freedom of mind, you're on your game and you're at your best. You naturally have access to a deeper creative intelligence that seems to come through us instead of from us. And you'll experience that in the form of insights and intuitions and inspirations and just more common sense. And then finally, yesterday we talked about how our attempts to manage or control our state of mind are unnecessary at best and actually counterproductive at worst. Healthy psychological functioning is self-regulating, which means that the moment you step outside the swirl of your current thinking, fresh new thought appears in that increased bandwidth and in the relative quiet and stillness that comes with it. And that not only comes with better thinking, it comes with an accompanying feeling of greater peace and greater ease and greater well-being. But let's bring this whole thing back together. How does understanding state of mind impact the bottom line? And the answer is because it impacts each of the other variables that impact the bottom line. In other words, a high quality state of mind positively impacts all of the things that impact the bottom line. So when you spend more time in clarity and well-being, and you are aware enough to take advantage of the traffic light and do less damage in your lower quality states of mind, you're going to worry less about how close to finishing you are at any given moment. And you're going to be more appreciative of how far you've already come. And that impacts the way that you think about the starting place. Now, if you remember, the second variable that impacted the bottom line was your investment of time and energy, your effort expenditure. Well, when you spend less time having to clean up your mess or thinking about everything that could go wrong or right, and all the other things that just come with a limited bandwidth, low quality state of mind, that frees up more time to just do what needs to be done. And this creates higher levels of efficiency, and it opens you up to even more creative inspiration, and you start to experience having more than enough time to complete each successive project. And so while by some objective external measure, somebody may look, wow, they're doing a lot, your internal experience is one of relative ease. Now, the third factor we talked about was strategy. Well, when you are in a higher quality state of mind, you have more common sense, and that common sense will guide you to follow more effective strategies and to more quickly abandon dead ends and wrong turns. You've probably read the book, or at least come across the book, Who Moved My Cheese, where people continue down formerly rewarding pathways even long after the reward is no longer available. Well, as you wake up to your own wisdom and well-being, as you spend more time at your best, you're going to spend less time chasing down old cheese. Right? The next strategy, the next thing that affects our results is the whole notion of what we know and our skill set in relation to the challenges. And again, in a higher state of mind, you're going to adapt more quickly to the realities of the situation. And you're going to be more inclined to drop unrealistic expectations like, oh, this is going to be easy. We'll all be millionaires by the end of the week. But you're also likely to drop unrealistic limitations Like, oh, this is just too damn hard. I'm too old for it. I'm too young for it. I'm too smart. I'm too dumb. I'm too experienced. I'm too inexperienced to really make this work. And when you're not all caught up in your own relationship to how it's going to go, you go on a learning curve, and it, in fact, it accelerates the learning curve for mastering the relative skill sets and acquiring the relevant knowledge set. And the whole thing happens with a minimum amount of self-consciousness and a minimum amount of self-interference. And then, because you're understanding how states of mind impact things, you're going to play more nicely with others, because you recognize that they're living in fluctuating states of mind as well, and they're subject to those same positive and negative effects of that as we are. So we know they're going to be smarter and more creative and exhibit more common sense when they're in a better quality state of mind. And just like us, they're going to be more closed-minded, they're going to be less creative, and they're going to be less willing to listen when they're in a lower quality state of mind. So you intuitively start to adapt your communications accordingly, knowing that there's no point in trying too hard to talk sense to a barking dog, but you'll also intuitively sense that there are always optimal moments to have critical conversations. And then finally, there's the random factor. When you begin to see that living in the unknown is your natural state, you just spend less time trying to control the wheel of fortune, and you spend more time looking to take advantage of it when it spins your way. There's a quote, it's probably the quote you'll hear me say more often than any other quote, by a Scottish Himalayan explorer named W.H. Murray, often misaccounted to Goethe. And he says, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. In other words, when you're not trying to impose your will on the randomness of life, you find that there's a kind of an implicate order that begins to emerge. So let me sum up our whole week together in 3 simple insights. The first is there's multiple variables that determine the results we produce in our lives, and most of those variables are just beyond your direct control. The second is that the most highly leveraged variable is your own state of mind. And what that means is your level of understanding of the workings and effects of healthy and unhealthy psychological functioning on all results-producing activities that you engage in. And that understanding is the key to your success or failure in most endeavors. And then finally, when we really start to understand this, we can place our attention on state of mind and the task at hand, and allow our innate wisdom, this incredible intelligence that's just sitting there right behind our personal thinking, we can allow that to take care of the rest, and we can allow that to guide us every step of the way. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and may all your success be fun. I'll talk to you soon.